where reports have it that the Edo State High Court in Benin has discharged and acquitted Dr. Omowumi Olabode Steven Ekundayo, a University of Benin lecturer, of an alleged rape case involving a 400-level student, Miss Anita Adesuwa Efosa. The case dated back to October 5, 2021, when Ekundayo was accused of raping the student in his office. Following the accusation, Ekundayo was interdicted and faced a legal battle for over 3 years. Justice Mary Etuesli, who presided over the case, ruled that the prosecution had failed to provide substantial evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. Key issues including the absence of corroborating medical evidence from the University Health Center and a conflicting report from Vivian Center that did not substantiate the claims. The judge highlighted a lack of physical evidence at the crime scene and inconsistencies in witness testimonies. Consequently, she upheld the no-case submission by Ekundayo's defense, leading to the dismissal of the charges. Now, there's a lot with this story, starting from the fact that the accusation was made, and then down to investigations, and then down to the statements by the judge that even the person that's the victim now, alleged victim, her stories were not the same. The witness reports were different. So because of that, it had to be, he had to be discharged. But then he had already had this case on for over 3 years. But let's bring Alfred in the studio on this one first off. Alfred, let's get your thoughts on this story.
Now, you see, over time, this has become unbecoming. Students have this nostalgic fear over lecturers. And this has lingered over a period of time. Now with this, when we talk about forensic, the way we carry out our forensic inferences here in Nigeria and other parts of the world, it's not same.
Okay, let's leave the investigation, the forensic, or whatever you're talking about. But let's start from your very first statement when you said that students have this, did you say nostalgic fear?
Yes.
Yes. So what do you mean?
Now, what I mean by this, because it's happened to me. I schooled here in Nigeria for the fact that you have the fear of the unknown, and you will say this should not happen again, but over time you find this happening, and these lecturers always have their way in the academia. I have been a victim of something of like mind, wherefore the lecturer will be like, after this while, we are going to deal with you. Now, this student in question is a 400-level student.
Okay.
Like in my case now, I was a victim of a mishap in an examination hall, where the lecturer told a girl that was close to me that she was going to sit for this same exam
next year.
3 more years. And we are writing.
What was the reason?
The reason was that the girl was talking while she was writing.
This is actually a case of rape. This is
now,
an accusation of rape.
No, I'm talking about fear. Fear now. It is the fear that made me to say this now. For the fact that the lecturer had said this, the girl was like, "Sir, what did I do?" The next thing was change the student's script. Now with this fear, now the girl had no option than to start crying, and I was like, "No, this should not happen, sir. This is utterly wrong." Do you know what happened to me? The man also tore my script. At that point, I was thinking of what I would do to this man. I thought of stabbing him with my pen and all of that, and I was like,
do that.
I did it. Right? I did it. No. Now my dad being a lecturer, I was like, this is a war front. I left the exam hall, went to my dad's office, and to my amazement, my dad's master students were writing their own exams over cups of coffee. And by the time I cried and I told them this, my dad had actually gone to invigilate an exam. hearing this alone, he came and, you know, my dad was a pioneer member of an institution.
But I'm trying to see the connection between the fear you're talking about and what just happened. Now,
the fear is that if this man, if the lecturer goes to jail, because in a very sane society where we have a constitution that works, you will see that if a lecturer violates a student in this magnitude, he's liable to this number of years in prison.
Of course, it's in the constitution.
It's in the constitution.
Not just a lecturer, anybody.
Anybody, you know. So to this effect now, the girl will also not have fears. No, if you are doing forensic and you try to find out things from the girl, and she will be like, wow, can I actually say this in public? Like the case of R. Kelly. It was not forensic that brought out the true evidences, and where is he today? Look at what happened to the SY governor of Delta State that was not found gullible in 173 cases. But there in US, how many caught up with him? Just one. And that one kept him in the niche for over a period of time. And our governments have a very cynical way of having their means.
But are you aware that it is also possible for one to be falsely accused?
It is very, very, very possible for that.
Okay.
But here in Nigeria, within 4-5 inferences, 3 are liable to be true.
What do you base your fact on? What do you base your analysis on?
What I'm basing my
your statistics on?
My statistics. There's a saying that goes towards behind every gestation there's always a truth.
All right, thank you, Alfred. Let's get to hear from Kenneth. Kenneth, how would you react to this particular story and how it turned out? Back, I don't know, probably he has issues with his network, but this is a very serious matter, and when we talk about cases like this, it keeps happening. It's something that reoccurs, especially in the university setting. And that's why I'm happy that some ladies are beginning to speak up when they actually see this. But you should also understand that a lot of other, not just ladies now, victims, they just bury it and move on because of the individuals that are involved. But that doesn't also take away the fact that it is possible for somebody to be falsely accused in a case like this. A lot of men especially have gone through this, where they'll be falsely accused of rape, and this is a very serious matter. I don't know if you've ever seen such a scenario, or you've ever known anybody who has been falsely accused of rape. It is serious, because at that point you cannot even defend yourself. You can't defend yourself at that point. So everything would have to be based on the evidence. But before you get to court for evidence, they would have dealt with you.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So if you know someone who has experienced this, you know, falsely been accused of rape, it's something the society
I know someone that has been.
at.
I know someone that has been falsely accused of rape. Now, the first thing that actually engulfed him was this aura of stigmatization, you know. At the tail end of it, when it was discovered beyond all reasonable doubt that actually didn't happen, the man went back to court, and there was a proceeding wherefore the person in charge was asked to revamp the statement via media, exonerating
the
man of rape, you know.
But how do we help these victims to speak up? Okay, we have Kenneth back on the line. Kenneth, can you hear me? Is Kenneth there? Kenneth, can you hear me? Okay, so when we finally have him back, we'll get his input. Yes, how do we make these victims really speak up? Because a lot of them are not speaking up. And I make reference to a situation of a friend just recently she shared with me. And I told her what to do, but she was scared because in her words, this lecturer involved, if I know his hierarchy, I will not ask her to take the steps that I'm asking her to take. But there are usually more to these things. How do we help these victims to speak up?
You know, in every institution, there's what we call, I think there's this department where you report issues.
Okay, the disciplinary department.
Disciplinary department. No. They call it the ethics committee.
Okay.
No. When you report such issues to ethics committee, they just pinpoint the lecturer, and there's always a follow-up. And you know, there are tidings to this. Once the follow-up has gotten to a certain stage, it's going to evolve, because where we are getting it wrong, you know, this has to do with the institutions. The VC is involved, the DVCs are involved, the administration is involved, you know.
Yeah.
And by the time people start to hear this outside the institution, they'll be like, wow, let's do everything to make sure we cover this up. Like it happens in the police force. Once you niche a policeman, he's under the covering over a period of time. Before you know, they will say he didn't do this, or he did it. No.
So when we are saying